So, did you guys see that report on those Nazi penguins? Oh, we're live. Okay. Matt, welcome to the Redeye stream number 255. Hey, guess who's back? 40's back again. Tell a friend. How you been, man?
I'm alive. I'm just hanging out. Just here to talk about things with guys, with men. Yeah.
And voice of one, you didn't threaten any lawyers today, right?
No.
Okay, well, you're the only Irishman here. I just wanted to clear that out of the way before we get to the first story here.
There are four folks with Irish heritage here.
No, don't start that, man. I'll come over there and give you a slap.
I'm Scottish too.
If you weren't born here, you have nothing Irish about you.
Yeah. I agree,
what is it? Your island now?
Yeah.
Yes, it is actually.
Yeah. Did you see Braveheart? That dude, it's my island. That voice.
It's my island. The Almighty says he can get me out of this one, but he's pretty sure you're fucked.
Like, if you want to buy it, we can negotiate.
we can get Sealand for $900 million.
Yeah, well, you're not getting it that cheap with us.
Well, you guys have a lot of pharma companies there.
Hey, they got pills? We could buy Ireland, maybe. I mean, I knew they had whiskey. I was already on board, but,
All right, gentlemen. So, according to the Canada Free Press, lawyer representing Covington Kids receives bomb threat after giving celebs and journalists 48 hours notice to retract or face lawsuits. So the threat comes in after he gave 48 hours notice for celebrities, media outlets, politicians, and journalists. 48 hours to retract and apologize for any defamatory statements against the Covington Kids or potentially be named in lawsuits next week. The threat was emailed and used the same deadline. It said, "I am coming to bomb your office. Get ready. 48 hours. Be ready." And, I can tell you right now who did it, memes. It was Madonna. She already threatened to blow up the White House. So,
Well, no,
those are different locations.
Here's the thing. Sorry, voice, but this is going back to your people. You guys are the idiots that phone in the bomb threat, right? Like, if you really want to blow something up, you don't call it time.
No, come on. We might have been known for that in the past, but there's another group of people who have been taking on the mantle lately.
Yeah, you have to pass the torch sometime. The Irish had their bombing days, and they're well behind you guys, right? Well, wait a minute. There was that one story the other day where you guys are blowing stuff up again.
So hopefully humanity, I truly believe we can do better. But apparently the attorney Barnes told the Gateway Pundit that the threat shows how dangerous the establishment press can be when it excites madness with libelous lies. So, gentlemen, was Anita Sarkeesian right?
Most likely not, whatever she said.
No, about internet harassment.
Yes, but you have to remember, memes, that speech at the UN that she went to was about women. It didn't include us evil men.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Very often when we say mankind, we're including gals too.
Doesn't she run Feminist Frequency or some shit like that?
Yes.
So
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, memes. I'm pretty sure.
No. Regardless of whatever you guys aren't big fans about Miss Sarkeesian for, but if one were to take the general principle of if you incite folks on the internet with certain things and you are getting nonstop hate, her whole thing was, at least what I think many took away, was people on the internet can do very mean things, such as making death threats, which apparently has been happening to these kids, which is fucking wrong.
Well, the thing that's most ironic about this is, let's take the two controversies that recently happened kind of back to back. The Gillette razor thing, and then the Covington Catholic school on their, chanting and doing whatnot. First of all, if you look at how the left responded to the Covington kind of debacle here, it's actually it's really funny because this is the same group of people that came out and they're talking about we need to end violence. Words are violence. We can't be issuing bomb threats. We can't be harassing people on the internet. Give us our internets. We want it to be peace and sateful and, you know, all these other, you know, dumb fucking words. But they're the ones that react in such an incredibly vitriolic manner that it's to the umpteenth degree. You can't possibly gauge it in comparison with anything that the right does. I mean, look at the fucking Gillette commercial. What's the worst thing that anyone on the right said? Oh, well, I'm just going to buy different razors. But, you know, lo and behold, you stand in front of, you know, a tribal elder or whatever and just smirk at him, and you've offended everyone, and now you're getting bomb threats and death threats. There are people saying that the kids need to be killed, shot, or drowned, or burned at the pyre, or whatever the case might be. It's fucking ridiculous.
That doesn't sound like many of these individuals are creating a very safe space.
Well, no, it really is ridiculous, especially when we're not even allowed to poke fun at David Hogg from the Parkland shooting when he wasn't even at the shooting, and I stand by that. Anyway, I'm looking at the chat. What's up, Raucous Network? I hope I said that right. I suck at pronunciation. See? Can't even say pronunciation. At Mad Dodge. Holy shit, there was a bomb threat against the kids? No, it was against their lawyer, though. So, how dare he represent them? I mean, so I guess it's kind of against the kids, right?
In some weird roundabout way, I suppose so.
Well, apparently, the attorney Barnes responded that if the goal was to deter me in helping these families, it has had the opposite effect. So he's doubling down. He's just like, because well, here's the thing: the mimetic you take away, all of a sudden you have a lawyer saying that very often, at least based upon what Sharadi was saying earlier, I was able to take away is that you have the kids basically saying that based upon like their religion and stuff, that you should have forgiveness. You just have folks apologize or take stuff down. So they were giving folks 48 hours to do so, and then this individual, whomever it may have been, then used very similar language saying that he was going to potentially cause harm to the attorney. And at this point, it's like, all right, so you're getting reported to the FBI, you're going to go to jail, and then you're just giving a lot of the folks that you don't seem to be big fans of all the ammo in the world. Because, I mean, we have to remember, guys, it wasn't that long ago where we had that whole hashtag MAGA bomber, and that guy, we find this van, which was literally just a big bumper sticker for like MAGA and like not so other nice things about folks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, people like to joke about, you know, lawyers are the scum of the earth or whatever.
Well, but that guy did send explosive devices, like a lot of them. Like those were explosive, man. They could go boom. They didn't, thank God. But
wait a minute. So it wasn't a threat; it was an actual bomb.
No, remember the MAGA bomber, dude? Oh, remember the guy with the van?
Okay, yeah.
Like he had sent actual explosives to freaking people.
I mean, in all fairness, they were a pretty fucking shitty design, if I say so myself.
If you drop and you get a spark, dude, dude, somebody. There were explosive devices sent and delivered to individuals. There has been a threat made. Dude, both of these things are fucking wrong.
Well, you know what?
They were explosive devices, but they weren't very good explosive devices.
you know what's interesting though? Last night my wife was watching NCIS. She's been like watching it every fucking day, like marathoning the fucking shit. To the point where Abby's hot, but like she needs to take her clothes off already, or I've lost interest. But anyway,
I can't believe I know what you meant by that too.
Yeah, dude. But the thing is, though, the case was these terrorists bought old World War II mines. They were the ones that were buried partway under the ground, and they would shoot up and explode. You know, at about neck height, you know, chest height.
Yeah, bouncing Betties.
Yeah. And they used that in a crowded summit or something like that in Egypt, and blew up a bunch of people. And they were going to do the same thing in New York and DC, like all the major cities. You know, it's NCIS, it's season 12. They were, you know, making everything grander, I guess. It wasn't just about murder investigations anymore. But Anyway, something like that would be fucking horrible. And it seems like people are kind of moving that direction. People are going fucking batshit crazy.
Yeah, I mean, just look what happened to the Wakandan, delegation. They got all blowed up.
Wait, what?
God damn it, boys.
What the hell happened?
No.
You didn't hear about the terrorist attack on the Wakandan delegation?
I haven't watched Black Panther yet.
Oh.
At the evil UN building,
That's horrible.
Well, no, and Voice of One was busy today making a video bitching about fucking what? Who cares about Fast and the Furious anymore anyway, dude? I mean, I stopped giving a fuck after part 2. Like, shit, man. They got to make a female version. All the guys are dying.
Is it a bad idea?
It's just street racing. I mean, why can't women do street racing? It's not like it's fucking up the Ghostbusters.
You have fast cars and beautiful women. Like I don't see anything wrong with that.
Yeah, no, and I think I just jumped subjects like crazy here, from bombs and people dying to movies. But
no, just look at our pre-Discord conversation, man. We started talking off about like intersectionality, and then we got into
we got talking about Paul Walker's career and how it took a hit.
Ouch! You seem really mad about it. I don't know why.
No, you see, you have to admit that Paul Walker's death was the very definition of irony.
I know. It was.
Okay.
I miss Paul Walker.
Wraps his fucking car around a telephone pole.
His 9/11 hit and then burst into flames.
He wasn't even driving. It was his friend who was driving.
Why would you let I don't care how good of friends I am with somebody. They're not driving that car if I owned it. Not a chance.
That wasn't Paul's car. That was his mate's. His mate was a millionaire too.
Oh, okay.
Car. Yeah.
That actually happens. Like, I had a friend who his girlfriend was driving and ended up getting into an accident, and he passed away, and it sucks.
Oh God.
And MC's in the chat. What's up, man? He says Mad Dodge needs to get a real political party. I hope you have a safe flight, sir. I really would be appalled if your airplane got struck by lightning.
MC. No, Mad Dodge. Here's the thing. I mean, the Libertarian Party, you guys have John McAfee. So, I mean, I'm sure as long as MC's plane isn't protected by McAfee software, he should be perfectly fine.
All right.
Don't
Listen,
do that
MC,
right now.
Yeah, I'm not saying your plane is going to get Paul Walkered, but, you might want to delay that flight.
There's an update on the McAfee situation. Do you want to hear the update, guys? All right.
Before we jump to another subject, 40, are you saying that, maybe someone from Greenpeace wanted to end the Fast and Furious, maybe so they killed Paul Walker?
I think that's exactly what I'm saying.
What?
It did happen in California.
No. Why would you? Well, they have The Rock, and they still have Vin Diesel. But I mean, Paul Walker was badass, man.
I just don't know why you were so offended by the idea, because it's not fucking up something like Ghostbusters. You know what I mean? And it fucked up. I'm actually happy for the Ghostbuster fuck up, because now we're going to get the real Ghostbusters 3. So I'm good with that.
Well, you see, here's the thing, right? Fast and Furious 1 was good. Fast and Furious 2 was good in its own way. 3 brought the team back together, and the only one that was really bad was the last one, where they'd done so much that it'll have to be Fast and Furious. The next one will be like jumping over the moon or some fucking shit, or it'll be set on the moon.
Oh, yeah. No, my brother-in-law brought that fucking stupid movie over, and him and my wife are watching it, and I look at it, and they're fucking jumping this fucking car from skyscraper to skyscraper. I'm like, oh, fuck off. You're like, give me Days of Thunder any day. What happened to real fucking movies?
Oh, no. Come on. Well, that was a good movie, yes. Days of Thunder. let's race around an oval. Oh,
I like
very
NASCAR. Fuck off. I like NASCAR. Fuck off.
I like NASCAR as well.
Yes, because NASCAR, like Americans, is simple.
I'm gonna turn to the left.
We like to take left-hand turns all freaking day while we drink beer, and hopefully nothing bad happens.
Yeah. You put it that way, memes. Everyone's gonna think they're in the fucking race car with their beer hat on. That's not.
Dude, fuck that. NASCAR '96, freaking some Molly Hatchet starting at the infos. Dude, I raced the entire Daytona 500 and came back from like 31 laps down after a crash. I'm a driving down the road and I'm flirting with. We'll save that to the finer print.
Okay, all right. No, so Terran Marine, no, same McAfee. I don't know about them stealing from Norton. I mean, if they did, then Norton must have had some shitty ass software because McAfee sucked. But anyway,
McAfee, man.
Holy shit! I didn't even see you jump in here. What's up, man?
I've been here since your intro. Yeah, no, but Norton's fucking terrible, man. It is the worst bloatware you can put on your computer. McAfee sucks, but it does do its job. Norton will genuinely break your machine.
Are we sure about that?
No,
like,
okay. Quick recap: McAfee ran for president for the Libertarian Party in 2016. Took third. All right. Now, quick update. Flashbacks 2019. McAfee's running for president again for the Libertarian Party. But the IRS, you know, they want taxes. It happens. He doesn't want to pay them. Well, they put out a warrant. He's on Freedom Boat outside of Bermuda. He finally told us where he is. He's outside of Bermuda chilling. He's been like putting out Twitter videos from the Freedom Boat. He's back on the whiskey, and I called it before he even said it. I'm like, wait a minute, I thought he was like no drugs, no alcohol. He went straight edge after the whole heroin fiasco. Nope, he's back on the sauce.
That's a real libertarian.
Yeah, no, dude, like my fucking hero already. Okay, so last night I fucking saw right before I went to bed. I'm looking at my Twitter on my phone, and I'm like, wait a minute, McAfee. I click on it. He's getting searched by the fucking Bermuda fucking Coast Guard or whatever, and they're unloading all their fucking guns. McAfee's got a goddamn arsenal on Freedom Boat.
well, live free or die, baby. And all right, wait, Mad Dodge, are you saying that John McAfee took a wrong turn at the Bermuda Triangle?
I'm saying he has been Charlie Sheen at his fucking peak. I don't know what's going on.
No, Mad Dodge. That's a very serious allegation there. I mean,
it is, and
really
I
have a Mount Everest of cocaine.
I don't know, but I have extended an invitation for him to join the Redeye. I did that yesterday. He never even responded, so I don't know. He could stream from Freedom Boat. And I will be fair to you, sir, because I kind of supported you a little bit in 2016 because I thought, you know, that's hilarious. I mean, anybody
you realize you just called the man batshit crazy.
He's acting it. Show me how you're not. You're acting crazy.
No. See, this is fucking pinnacle. This is peak libertarianism, Mad Dodge. This is peak libertarianism, right? Unlike every other libertarian who's like, oh, taxation is theft, but I'm still going to pay my taxes. He went, fuck that. I'm not paying any taxes, and I'm going to live off the coast of Bermuda with my fucking AK-47 collection and my Freedom Boat. Like, that's peak fucking libertarianism.
Mad Dodge, how do you
He's like a superhero right now, but he's not the superhero we need, all right? God damn it. Maestra, dude, what's going on with him, man?
He's been doing blow and hookers since his antivirus software took off in 1995. And someone mentioned Charlie Sheen. Yeah, the draw there is quite similar. There's not much difference between the two. You have one that is a multi-million-dollar actor who's acting fucking crazy. You have another one who's a multi-million-dollar software designer, technically. Although he's the same software designer that MS-DOS Shell was an original software. But sure. And as far as the thing about is Norton really terrible, I haven't used it since 1999 because installing it on Windows 98 or 2000 meant that you would break the computer. And it was about 2 gigs of bloatware back then when an 8 gig hard drive was massive. So I don't know what else to tell you to that. But as far as McAfee, he's fucking nuts. And come on, the guy did a video where he had like massive amounts of coke and is just like, I know where the president came from. It's like, Jesus, dude, shut
up. What? Yeah, he came from New York.
Oh, no. This was back under Obama, actually.
Yeah.
No. McAfee did the Trump thing where he's like, I am a full-fledged like birther. Watch me go. McAfee's a riot, dude. Like, I don't expect a cokehead to be a good fucking politician. Part of why I never voted for him or supported him. And as far as the taxation is theft, not paying your taxes, I'm going to go run off thing. That's actually really, really immature. Most libertarians that I know of will argue that taxation is theft, but they still pay their income taxes. So that way they're not, held legally liable or,
Damn fucking right. Damn right. Already went to H&R Block once. I'm waiting on my 1098T form from my university. Yeah, I don't want to fucking go in there, but I have to.
Yeah. No, I don't particularly want to pay taxes, but I definitely vote where my taxes go because even though I view it for the most part as theft, it is also what binds a social group together. So, I think that's a facile argument, personally.
See, I view it that way as well. So I think saying theft is a little too far. It is needed to some degree to secure the sovereignty of the country.
Well, my big complaint where it comes in is when you start spending my tax money on things that I'm not allowed to vote for. Then it is theft. And not to sound like a tradcon here, but I don't particularly want my money going to affordable birth control, even though that's a fucking talking point. Yeah, I don't get any subsidy for my smoking. So why should you get subsidies for your having children? What?
Well, Maestro, what if you had the ability to pay your taxes early, but you were able to direct exactly where it went? No, but what I'm saying is, what I'm saying is, if the government, let's assume we actually had a budget.
Okay, sure.
Assuming we're living in a world where we have a budget. Would you be willing to pay perhaps even earlier money that would be going to the government if you could select exactly where it went?
Absolutely, but that's never going to happen. The amount of control over where your tax money goes and where it's allotted is one of the major complaints from the average libertarian about the federal government.
I brought up the technology.
No, I think they can, but to quote Independence Day, you don't think it's $50,000 for a hammer, do you? $20,000 for a box of nails, do you?
I factor in that we have to have some of the most badass shit that I've never even thought of if we need it.
Okay. Well, assuming that is the case, and we actually do have these badass things. Now, I mean, going back to like stealth ship technology, which is now fully declassified. That's a prime example. A lot of tax money went into the development of sonar-proof ships.
You know what? I don't know how. Sorry to cut you off, but I don't know how the universe works this way. I just mentioned that 1098T form. I just got an email. It's ready. My wife is probably halfway to the coast with the only car. Yeah, no, that's all I need to finish my taxes and probably walk out with my refund. It's lame. Like, I'm just saying, it's weird. Like, I just mentioned it, and then I got an email immediately after.
Well, maybe your tax preparer within the university is watching your stream and doesn't want to be badmouthed, because that is actually another story that's coming out, where a lot of high schools and colleges on the East and West Coast are secretly watching their graduation students to see if they say anything bad about their alma maters. That's a fun little story. Yeah, no, it's actually they're using the Amazon and Twitch terms of service crap, where if you say anything on social media that's negative, even if it's not on our platform.
Oh no! When you say watching, I'm thinking like all of a sudden they're popping on cameras like that one high school did.
No, that's an extreme case. No, typically what they're doing is that they're They're just shadow watching you, which is just seeing what you post as an anon account.
They're keeping tabs.
Yeah, exactly. So that way, if you say something negative, they can retroactively remove your diploma. Like, I don't understand what the goal of that is, but that is what they're doing.
Well, you got to keep people. You got to keep people in line. You wouldn't want them saying things that you wouldn't want them to say. I mean, obviously you have to threaten people because that's the only way to keep people in line. I mean, it's not like you could actually try to be benevolent and actually work with folks. And if folks aren't doing something well, you actually let them know and you incentivize people, right?
I don't understand why your employer nor your educator nor any other social media platform needs to know what I'm saying on other social media platforms. I don't.
Yeah, I agree completely. But no, back to McAfee.
Sure, back to the cokehead. Yes.
He got out of it, and he obviously didn't have any coke on that boat, or he wouldn't have got out of it, and they let him keep the guns.
Are you sure about that? The last time I heard he got busted was in Cuba, and like there was a big thing the Cuban police were going to release because he broke customs law, and then they said, "No, sorry, that was a press mistake." Like, sure it was communist Cuba, whatever you say.
Yeah. I'm sure he doesn't have any hidden compartments in the walls or anything. I'm sure that's totally not what's going on.
Yeah, no smuggling, nothing like that. No, but I mean, to be fair, at least he does, for the most part, at least pay taxes. He hasn't flown a plane into an IRS building or any other stupid shit. I mean, those are things that libertarians do that I have no problem with you bashing. It's just
that seems like a very low bar, though.
Is it though, when you're talking about people who for the most part do view taxation as theft, so therefore they do break the law according to paying their taxes, or
is that
break
just
the law
a meme?
according to what they view as a protest?
That is not just a meme.
Is it mostly a meme?
Is what mostly a meme?
What, that the federal income tax is unconstitutional and illegal?
That is not a meme. No. Unfortunately, a good number of just standard run-of-the-mill libertarians do believe that any form of taxation is theft, and then when you try to break down how they're going to pay for roads,
I don't think any form. The income tax is the illegal tax I'm talking about.
But
import taxes are legal.
But they don't do it.
Property taxes, I don't know. There needs to be something.
I don't understand how you view one form of taxation as theft and another form as not.
Because
theft.
the income tax wasn't granted via the Constitution at all. It's unconstitutional. It's illegal.
Congress can make taxes upon the civilian body. That's actually written into ways and means.
They can tax. They can do direct taxes, not indirect. And it's the income tax is an indirect tax that they can put anywhere they want. Right. And now it's an invisible tax because most of the time it's taken out of your paycheck. You don't even have to hand it over at a certain time.
I think one of the
you don't have to save it up all year and then watch it disappear.
The income tax was originally like a 1% tax on folks making more than like $1 million. That was supposed to be temporary.
It was originally the top 1% of the 1%, and it was 3% of their total earnings. It wasn't a fixed amount.
I think the problem is it didn't go away like certain folks said, and
people
then
thought the IRS was going to go away, and I'm like, why? I mean, that's only a military thing to draw military funds under World War II, and it's still around. Like, naturally, getting rid of government bureaucracy is much harder than inventing it.
Well, we used to have savings bonds and stuff. I think we still do.
I mean, like they would tax commodities here and there, like the whiskey tax, which created the Whiskey Rebellion and stuff like that, which was even challenged.
That was a branch of sin taxes. The part of the reason why the sin taxes were dropped to such an extent was the prohibition issues that arose from it, and keeping the sin taxes around was actually significantly detrimental. Because what if you're not religious? What if you're not Christian? What if you're Jewish? Why do you have to pay these, religious-based taxes? Because that's entirely how they were presented and sold. Is that they would go, it's sinful to do these things, and who determines what's sinful or not?
But we've always had tariffs. We've always had to run the government somehow, and no one's just going to give up money freely ever.
Tariff is from one government onto another government's population. You don't have intra-country tariffs, typically. That's part of the reason why we have the intrastate trade bill, so that way you cannot.
The reason we have
let me finish my thought, please. The reason why we have the intrastate trade bill is so that way Kansas cannot charge market value and tariff the wheat we export. That's why everyone gets cheap bread and cheap milk, is because Wisconsin and milk-producing dairy states cannot charge at market value for it. Same thing that agro states can't charge at market value for their grains and other produce. Same with beef. So there wasn't a tariff. Like your use of tariff is, I think, horribly.
The reason they had to implement the Commerce Clause into the Constitution is because under the Articles of Confederation, the states were imposing tariffs upon one another.
Mm-hmm. And that was the problem, which is what I said.
And the tariff I was referring to that ran the government was the tariff with other countries. Yeah. I wasn't talking about an interstate tariff.
Yeah, but it's illegal under
the that's what I'm saying. They ran the government with just that. They didn't need
tariff another state or county. Now, my bitch with like the ATF, for example, is that if you carry tobacco across the state line at more than 40 cigarettes weight, then you're technically tobacco smuggling. Same thing goes with alcohol. If you ever cross a county or state border with alcohol, you're smuggling, even if you bought it legally with a federal tax stamp. If you want to get into the tax insanity, there's a marijuana sales tax and growing tax stamp that has been in existence since 1914. But what they get you on is if you grow or manufacture, produce or own marijuana without a tax stamp, then you're in breach of the federal law. That's what they use against you there.
Wait, is it the stamp still in the books?
Yes, but they don't sell the stamps. It's the same.
No, they do. It's just that they only sell it to people who are under the federal marijuana study that was started under Bush Senior. Bush Senior ended it. It was started under, I think, fucking Johnson was the one who started it. It might have been the one right after Johnson. But there was a federal marijuana study for high-end cancer patients. And I distinctly remember this because it was on another libertarian show, Penn and Teller's Bullshit, where they were going into the fact that, no, this guy does get 300 joints sent to him every week that have federal tax stamps on them. They're just not open for resale to anyone to buy them. Now, you can technically go buy them. They just won't ship them to you. They'll instead send the FBI to your house. A fun little study I did a couple of years ago, actually. One of the only times I've been visited by the FBI.
Well, I mean, it's just strictly academic, of course.
No, it's just, you can get them, technically. It's just they won't ship them to you. They'll send the FBI to your house. But
actually, I saw a documentary about this, about crossing the borders, and I have to say the Bandit did it brilliantly.
What did it brilliantly? I didn't catch that.
Seriously, no one saw Smokey and the Bandit? No.
Oh no! I'm too freaking young for that, sir.
How old are you?
I'm 38.
Wait, what?
You're not too young for that movie.
They played that movie on TBS all the time.
Not in where I grew up. No, I grew up in an incredibly fundamentalist, insane religious background housing.
Oh,
so, yeah, no, we didn't have TV at all because TV was Satan. Like, at the time, my parents were fully invested in the fact that there were satanic daycares and shit. That's why, they were that kind of Christian.
Oh,
so that was the thing in the 80s and 90s, the satanic daycare panic. That came up on stream earlier, my morning stream, actually, because we were talking about why the authoritarian Christian right was so weak in their authoritarian presentation. And it's like, because you're not looking back far enough. You need to see what they did to the daycare industry back in the early 80s.
The satanic panic is always the example. I mean, it's not always the example, but that's typically the example that I look to whenever you want to, like, if you want to examine Brexit and the kind of hysteria that's going on in regards to that, the satanic panic would be something that would mirror over quite excellently, because there are these fluffy theories out that, the Satanists are trying to overthrow the government, just as, the Brexiteers just want Europe to be weaker, they just want the UK to be weaker, and they want to overthrow the intelligentsia, or whatever the case might be.
Well,
ridiculous.
it's actually quite amusing that you brought that up, because what I was talking about on stream earlier this morning was the fact that the mainstream center left has started to adopt the fact that the anti-racist whatever insanity of Antifa is an actual religion. And if you look at it under that tone, yeah, no, you're calling heretic and saying this heretic is trying to undermine the value of your society. It's a religious expression, and I totally agree.
Yeah, well, it's even gotten to such a point where the left has started to adopt these kind of age-old heresy laws that might have been in effect, 300-400 years ago in Europe. You were not allowed to talk bad about Jesus or God or the church, the Catholic Church.
No, blasphemy laws exist. That's what you see on Twitter today.
Oh yeah,
that's part of it. The fact that the Covington kids, people are calling for their death, and that's not apparently a violation of Twitter, even though they're 16 and children. But supporting of them is a violation of Twitter.
This is going to come to a head with the lawsuits and stuff, because it sounds like some folks are still doubling down. And I mean, according to that article, literally all you need to prove is these kids were not public figures. They did not ask for this. And then they have millions of people hating you. They've become public figures. Now they have.
Actually, no. Under the way that your employment laws were changed in 2005, where they made where they changed it so that way anything you do on social media is purview of your employer at a federal level, makes every single person a public figure for this regard.
Were they on their social media?
No, but that's irrelevant. They have public social media accounts, which, as per the judgments around this decision about whether or not your employer can look at private information or not, it was determined. So therefore, that since there's a judgment for that, when
what if their accounts are private,
if all of their accounts were private, then as long as they don't appear on any public account anywhere, then you don't have access to their material. So hopefully nobody else tags you in a photo or something. This is how Facebook is allowed to have shadow accounts of you. Your friend tags you in a photo, eating at Georgie's with Tom, let's say, and then you don't have an account there, but they make an account for Tom, and that's how they get your picture, phone number, address, all these things. Facebook was sued badly for that, and the suing lost.
Well, and there's been multiple accusations and kind of scenarios where that kind of information gets leaked, or that kind of information is brought to public light, and Facebook has gotten in trouble for that so many times, but nothing ever happens.
Well, I honestly don't agree that it's going to come to head over a lawsuit. This is going to come to head when somebody kills someone. Well, whether it's a kid or whether it's
you need to remember, man, that her name was Heather Heyer.
That's not the same thing. I'm talking quite specifically.
Is that mimetic not the same? Somebody that was on somebody's quote-unquote side died.
No, I'm saying Heather Heyer specifically went to a protest to counter-protest. I'm talking specifically someone's going to go to their house because they think they're going to get a blowjob from Melissa Milano, as she said, I'll blow anyone who kills these guys. Or they're going to accept the money from Rosie O'Donnell or others to go teach these kids a lesson, and someone's going to end up dead. If it's not these
people kids, will die in protests.
The Trump
dude, that's the way we're going. That's the path we're heading down.
No. The Trump hat is viewed as an opposing religious iconography symbol, even if you don't view Trump in a religious way. That is why it's heretical. Look at the vape shop guy. That is a religious expression that, get out, heathen, I'm going to scream in tongues, leave, because of your offensive nature. No, that someone's going to die. This is going to turn into a hot civil war before there's any type of resolution, because none of the social media platforms, I got to do an argument with Matt about this. The social media platforms are set up as a distributor, but they're acting like publishers. And until they're actually required to legally determine they're one or the other, which I think will also occur at the same time, Twitter's not responsible. Facebook's not responsible. They're perfectly allowed to have the biases they do and present the arguments that they do.
Oh, dude, they're like Blade. They have all of their strengths and none of their weaknesses.
Well, that's the scary part, is that a publisher is allowed. Sorry, what is it? A publisher is allowed to curate their results, while a distributor is not. So yes, it is both of the advantages. You are allowed to curate results as a publisher, but you not take any responsibility for what's on there when things go negative. This is the reason why, regardless of what's said or done, people freaking don't get mad at Twitter for the fact that they have this going on. They use that for alt media. Like, suddenly they're going to go after the guy who shot people in that synagogue in Pennsylvania, saying he was on Gab, shut down Gab because it's not safe. But fucking what's his name was in the middle of was on Twitter being an absolute shit. Elliot Rodger, like he was quite public about that on Twitter, and nobody held that against Twitter.
Yeah, well, and one of the rather unfortunate parts is that these laws, if they are to ever be enacted, won't be enacted for maybe 20, 30 years. Because, I mean, a lot of the constituency of these senators and congressmen and everything, they're in a position to push this legislation, but the senators and congressmen, they don't quite understand it because they're not hip young millennials. It's going to take lots of time for these kind of laws to be enacted.
No, I see. That's the thing. I think that they do know what's going on, and I personally don't want these laws to exist because I'm a free speech absolutist, and I can already see that we're going to end up with like Twitter police, like the UK has, because that's a thing you need to have in your society.
Well, let me ask you this, how do we fix
ask
that?
him after, real quick. One last thing on McAfee. All right, so 6 hours ago, the Freedom Boats Manifest. One old man, 7 brave soldiers, 1 Italian captain, 1 documentarian, 431 pounds of dog. I know he means that's his 2 or 3 dogs, but that sounds like they're eating dog, and that's just weird. 1 terrified black woman, enough weapons and ammo. Enough weapons and ammo, food for 6 months.
Yeah, it sounds like a standard doomsday prepper, which are mostly conservatives these days. They're not libertarians, but yeah, that sounds like a doomsday prepper. Like the guys back under like Bush, where they're fucking wrapping their house in trash bags and shit.
Yeah. Well, no, 2 more things. 1,834 quarts of booze. That's a lot of booze, and I wish I was on that boat right now. I would not be this sober. Also, he says no drugs. So you heard it from him. No drugs. Much to see here.
How do you have that much booze and no drugs? Because alcohol is a drug. I don't understand that statement. That does not compute. Are you saying alcohol is not a drug, or is he saying alcohol is not a drug?
He's saying it's not a drug he's going to get arrested for.
Oh, yeah, he said it. Come out to Kansas. We have 8 dry counties. Have alcohol out here, and you will go to all kinds of religious bullshit. Like, no. Like,
MD, shoot McAfee the coordinates so he can sail out to Kansas.
Actually,
that's not how this works.
You can't actually sail to Kansas, as most people don't think you can. But how does what work, Mad? I'm curious.
How do you sail to Kansas? All right, what?
You go up the Missouri. Well, first you go up the Mississippi to the Missouri River.
The Mississippi.
You go to the Kansas River, then you take the Kansas River over. That's how the steamboat tracks went. That's why we have Steamboat Arabia and other shit in this state.
I was hoping, since he was like a billionaire, his ship all of a sudden would like pop out like a big Zeppelin and he'd become an airship.
That would be cool, wouldn't it?
Like, jump down like
have some type of transformer or some shit vehicle. Oh, that'd be
it's like a modern day fucking LR oven. It sounds like the kind of ship's inventory that Hubbard took with him when he went looking around the Mediterranean for those bones and stuff.
Oh. Well, he busts out Leonardo DiCaprio or Da Vinci's the little flying machine.
But no, you guys can keep going on about social media if you want. I just saw that last thing by my new favorite guy running for president.
That's the thing. Like, I'm actually a little concerned about what the next election is going to be like, simply because we actually went full reality TV star this time. I'm a little curious. Like there's a political cartoon that's running around where it's Kid Rock being sworn in like 2020 or some shit, 2024, I think. And President Trump just sit there is like, I did make America great again. And it's like, well, it's the same concern people had after Reagan was elected, because Reagan was just an actor. And I mean, personally, I don't really see much in Bush or Clinton that proved them wrong. I mean, you went for for popular, decent-looking people as opposed to whether or not. I mean, politicians used to be ugly celebrities, and now they're really not so much anymore.
Yeah, but didn't that happen with Nixon? I mean, that was the day of the TV, right? That's how Pretty Boy Kennedy got through. You know, he didn't have the sweat on his lip or whatever.
Killed the radio star.
There you go.
Well, yes and no, because Nixon's a career politician, and part of what he lost on the election was just he did not look presidential, being all worn out. Where Kennedy, who'd spent all time in
that's what I'm saying.
Court, looked great.
But that's the point I was making, is that, you know, that's the changeover, that now they're looking for pretty boys. They want somebody who, you know, can appeal. And it's no surprise that you end up with a, you know, TV presenter effectively as your president.
Oh, that's our particular country. At least we're not our neighbors to the north who ended up with a guy who was elected solely for his hair. Right?
I don't know what the fuck we ended up with. Still trying to identify it.
You ended up with a wolf because Theresa May was supposed to be a conservative, and I have yet to see anything out of your country that's remotely conservative. Like your right wing are moderate leftists. It's very weird.
Yeah, you got literally the most flaccid version of like Margaret Thatcher you could possibly get.
Oh, it's
part of what
I don't have words.
Part of what I find confusing too is why is it that the English are abandoning English common law and instead of adopting Napoleonic law? Like, that makes absolutely no sense to me.
Because it's part of the obligations that were coming through because of the European Union obligations. And the thing was that they were hoping to get them all through before we, you know, they never thought we were ever going to get a referendum or anything. You know, I mean, every time they tried it anywhere else, they just told them to shut up and vote again. But this time, you know, but they really, and so what they're doing now is they're trying to throw in all of the commitments to Napoleonic law that we already had, and so they can get them in ahead of time. And then we will have ended up adopting them anyway.
Well, you guys actually haven't finalized Brexit, which means that you're technically still part of the EU and constituting an army. So how is that going to work if you guys aren't fully out of the EU by the time they finish constituting an army? Is America going to have to go bail you guys out again? Is that what the plan is for the Brits?
What do you mean? We don't. Hey, listen, we don't want you to come and bail us out. If these fuckers over there had just stopped pissing about, then we wouldn't need any help from anybody, would we? Right? Don't make it out like we're fucking going around to starting trouble so we can get some help from someone.
I'm not making it out at all.
I'm fucking idiots.
I see them, and it's your country, so therefore, why aren't you?
Yeah, look, what the fuck can we do about it? We can't up anchor and sail away. We're stuck with these fuckers, right? I mean, they've been there for 1,000 years.
You're absolutely not. You can absolutely just walk away from the EU. You guys have a stronger economy than anyone but perhaps.
But that's but that's what the people have been trying to say for over 40, 50 years. It's only the politicians who've denied the option, right? We had one vote, and that was not for the European Union. We had one vote, which was for a common market. And all that was tariff-free trade. That's the only vote that people had prior to the referendum, which was about the whole European fucking project that the common market had turned into. Okay, in between that, we had no fucking chance to, you know, to make any sway whatsoever. They just
I mean, to be honest, I don't understand the way that the EU works. I mean, you guys have a common currency and a common market, but you have no common language nor common law that binds.
The British don't have a common currency with the EU, right? No. You guys don't. Yeah, you don't have.
Neither
do the. I said, and I quote: "I don't understand how the EU even works. It has a common currency and a common, a common market, but it doesn't have a common language or common law that backs it up."
Yeah, but it can't.
Precisely what I said.
Yeah, but why would it have a common language? I mean, it's, you know,
why wouldn't
it's going to wake up in the morning and change language? That's not going to happen.
It's not
because of tradition, heritage. You know, tradition and heritage, and you know, an entire educational system.
Cabby, this is easy. Go back to being Catholic.
No, I agree.
Go back to being Catholic and speak Latin everywhere. Bam, common language.
I'm actually surprised they didn't adopt Latin as a common language because no country actually speaks Latin. No country does.
Yeah, I tell you what, it doesn't matter what people speak. If you point and shout loud enough, they fucking get the point. If they want your money, they'll figure out what it is you want. So.
Yeah, but how do you know if they're ripping you off or not? Like that's what I'm afraid of. Like it could probably be like a $1 fucking thing, and they'll be like, "You take a 10 or something," because I don't know what this fucking currency means. Like, you know what I mean?
So
like,
people don't like being.
Yeah, but it'll be on a menu. It's on a menu. It'll tell you how much it is. And if it's on a menu, then it pretty much everyone's paying the same.
But you're going to random shops and shit if you're like a fucking tourist. I've never been overseas.
Wait, hold on a second. Wait a second. MD, aren't you a libertarian? Don't you like the whole principle of bartering?
I do, but I would like to know what the fuck they're saying.
You can't barter. These are not bazaars over here. You can't barter in most. They're just normal stores like you have over there. It's not.
You don't have like antique shops where you can haggle over here, or pawn shops.
Oh,
where you haggle.
Well, I mean, you could do if it was that. Yeah.
No, quite literally, haggling's a dead trade. Nobody haggles really. Like
no, you can haggle at even a big box store.
I haggle, yeah.
That typically gets you kicked out of the big box store because prices are non-negotiable. It's listed as a sale price.
Oh,
and
they don't have those sort of powers. If it's in a, I mean, you can't go into Walmart and stuff.
Well, no, I don't go haggling at
Walmart, Kohl's, any of those stores are big box stores, and not even
I'm saying
have a right to adjust price.
I'm saying local shops. You know, some of us still shop in small towns with an actual, Main Street and places you can haggle.
Lucky, man. You're absolutely lucky. Kansas was eviscerated by Walmart. We have no main streets. We don't have small shops. They don't exist because there's a Walmart within every county. I mean, good luck with that. Like, there is not an option to shop small town within 300 miles of where I live.
Like, after the harvest, we buy all our fruits and vegetables from the farms, man.
Oh,
well, we don't really buy them from the stores.
Different. That's a farmer's market. I thought you were talking about, like,
no, other places too. Other places too, yeah. Like Florence, Oregon, on the coast, they have the Old Town Florence, and it's all small shops everywhere. Sisters is a town up here by me. They actually have a code where everything has to look Western style, like the McDonald's. By the way, that was a big thing. Everybody flipped out. They didn't even want McDonald's in the motherfucker. All right. Yeah, and it looks like a fucking old Western fucking McDonald's. It's really cool looking, actually.
That's interesting because Albuquerque, New Mexico was sued over requiring buildings to look Adobe because that was their building style, and they were sued. And that was supported by the libertarians, actually, because you had no right to determine property aesthetic.
It's more of a building. It's more of a building code, not necessarily a code. But I mean, with modern siding and stuff, it's not as hard to do. It still is increased cost, definitely. But
Albuquerque lost that lawsuit, so I mean, I'm surprised that you can force businesses to look a certain way because that was on a circuit level. I think that was 8th Circuit or 7th.
Historic places they can get away with and stuff.
Well, this is a small. This is a small mining community. I think it's 2,000 people. That's it.
Okay.
There's a place in Edinburgh. It's now people. Well, I mean, it was. I don't know what it is now. It's that actually have like waitresses. Walking like in skirts and
we call them Hooters.
Kebby, I have to tell you, I didn't hear half of what you just said because you went in and out.
And because of the fronting of the building, they couldn't modify it. Right, they had to retain the character, and because of that, they ended up. It's basically.
This isn't my internet messing up. This is Cabby.
No, is it still doing it?
Yeah, it's been going in back and forth.
Yeah, try an F5 real quick.
No, it's probably because it's because me keeps fucking.
Yeah, try an F5 real quick.
We need that shirt.
But no, Maestra, I don't know how they've gotten away with it because they did force McDonald's to do it, and then after the McDonald's was built, the people that were protesting it actually burnt it to the ground. They had to rebuild it. So
I think that's just simply McDonald's didn't want the bad press of suing the small town. But legally, there's no right for you to demand a new building have any aesthetic look because libertarians sued that out of existence. So you can't demand that as a township anymore due to the libertarians, not due to the large the large government reach people. This was the small town reach people, and they decided that personal liberty was better than that. And so, I mean, that just sounds like they didn't want to make a fuss to get the bad PR. But
probably
from a legal standpoint, you cannot demand a new building look a certain way. Albuquerque lost that suit.
Well, so, no, I'm guessing you're right. I'm going to say you're right. It's not the private houses though that have to look that way. It's anything like the Safeway looks like that as well. Like all the restaurants. It's kind of the town theme. Because half the town is still in that style because it was built back then when it was just a small little mining town in the Cascades. Mm-hmm. It's up. You go over the pass. From Eugene towards Bend. Once you head up and over the pass, Sisters is where you go into right before you drop down out of the Cascades into Bend. So that town was a wagon train town. You know what I mean? Oregon Trail style shit.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. I'm just surprised that McDonald's or I mean Safeway is another big box company, so I'm surprised that either one of them put up with that. And the only reason why I can think of is negative PR, because after that suit was established, like a lot of places, like freaking Walmart went into a ton of suits, Target, Kohl's, Bed Bath and Beyond, another one was from well, God, what was it? It wasn't. Oh, what's the name of that home improvement store? It's not Home Depot. It's the other one.
Lowe's.
Yeah. Lowe's was, they all joined suits against various townships and cities because they did not want to change the way their buildings look, because there's a particular corporate aesthetic that they have in their particular buildings, which, I mean, for the
there was precedence set.
Yeah, well, there was established precedence, and the libertarians established it. I mean, there's plenty of things to bag libertarians over. That's one of them. Because for all of their bitch about, you know, private communities should set up what they want, they have no problem telling a private community that they can't do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. But the one thing is, as much as you may be able to bash libertarians on that, they still have John McAfee.
I view John McAfee as just a giant clown. He got rich off of antivirus software that got embedded into your OS, to your browser.
Corporate partnerships.
Yeah, no, that's entirely what made his fortune. And he hasn't actually made any software since 1995. Like, McAfee antivirus has been out of date for a long time.
Wait, isn't that like one of the criticisms folks have of like President Trump? They're like, oh, he built a real estate empire. Oh, no, but he just licenses stuff out and he just got set up. It's like, well, the dude still made a lot of money. He played the game, and if the game is to make money, they both made a lot of it.
Oh, no. That's not what I'm criticizing him for. I'm criticizing him as some sort of inventive genius when he barely got an antivirus that worked up and running and hasn't done anything since then. I don't think he's an inventor. No. I don't think he's a genius. And I don't see anything redeeming about the inventor.
I'm not sure if Cabbage is talking or we're all quiet. Oh, sorry.
I thought Cabbage was talking, but he kept cutting in and out, so I just stopped. Yep, he's a robot.
Oh, it must be raining over there. Probably water in the conduit.
All right, sorry, Cab. Try and out, but we can have dead air. So, if you had a thought to finish there, go ahead. I mean, I didn't mean to backtrack it back to McAfee. And if anybody has a topic they want to bring up, go ahead. We still have another hour to go. So.
No, I backtracked it because I'm a dick.
I mean, realistically, I'm actually quite interested in the fact that it's not just the libertarian center calling the authoritarian left a new state theocracy like they typically do. I mean, for the last 200 years, the left has been creating non-God-based religions.
Well, that's the thing. It seems kind of weird, man. It's like, I mean, again, like I'll give folks a benefit of doubt for a while, but I think I was even saying the other day, it's like certain things. Like if you say certain things, it's almost like, yeah, almost kind of blasphemy to some folks. And this is the thing.
Did anybody watch Tim Cook's Apple latest fourth quarter IPO? Anybody see that?
The one where they're rooting out white supremacy?
Wow, no, where they're rooting out sin and they're reinforcing morality because white supremacy is sinful. That's specifically the one I'm referring to. Because you don't make a moral argument in terms of religious speak unless you're in a religion. What determines it's sinful? What determines that it is shameful? Shameful is not the same thing as sinful. Like those aren't synonyms. They are in many ways antonyms, because what is sinful typically tends to be very shaming. Like how is it that it is personally okay for you to beat the crap out of yourself, called self-flagellation, and that's not shameful, but it's sinful not to? Like
sin is what is committed. The shame is what follows from committing said sin.
Yeah, but that's causality. That's not the same thing as equating those emotions. That's what I'm saying. Like,
no. But the generalization. I mean, aside from just pandering semantics, no. But the thing is, with this, you look at it, it's like I would, even when I was with the artist formerly known as Mrs. Memes, like one of the things was, and I told her this, like even when we did way back in the day. What?
Is she an artist?
Actually, no. She was a tattoo artist. Actually, yes.
So that yes, she is an artist.
Okay, fair enough. All right.
But I would say things, and certain things, like when certain words came out of my mouth, and that was the thing. Like I'm one of those people. Like I'll say like stupid shit. Like I'll try to offend people, and people will laugh at me, and then I'm being absolutely serious, and then I look over, and there's like tears in the eyes, and I'm like, what the hell happened? And then it's like I'm the worst person in the world, and I'm like, freaking lettuce.
Well, I mean, I think some of that plays into just the kind of it's like racist jokes, right? When a comedian goes up on stage and to say, "What do you call a bunch of black kids playing in leaves? Raisin Bran," and then everyone laughs. I mean, it's the kind of sensibility that there are some things that are humorous, but things that are said without the intention of humor are typically what people see as most harmful. And that's especially why I think a lot of that offensibility comes from politics specifically, because politics isn't necessarily a long-running joke. Well, I mean, it kind of is, but it's not necessarily viewed as some long-running joke. It's something that's held very personably, that people hold close to their heart. So when you do criticize politics, it's typically, you don't get a very nice reaction from people, I think.
Well, it immediately goes into debate mode, and you get ready to go back and forth. And especially on the internet. I mean, quite frankly, even Twitter, you could be joking at somebody, and then suddenly it gets real quick.
Well, that's the thing. They don't know how to take it. And a lot of it is, I'm sorry to cut you off, Matt, but we've kind of set up the structure for this, because especially if you're going to apply any type of law or any form of litigation, what are you doing? We have the incentive that if you harm somebody, then that could open them up to damages. But if you're going to consider words on the internet as harmful, which depending on the context, yeah, it could potentially be, if you're calling for calls of violence.
Doesn't matter.
But then again, at that point, you are inciting, which is essentially breaking the line of free speech. And this is the conundrum we're in.
Real quick, you guys. I'm hearing myself from somebody, probably Memes. Sorry, Memes. Cabby, I did hear you. I don't know if you stopped talking because the Memes kept going, or if it cut out again. So test your mic. Go ahead.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Cabby, I don't know. Have you tried to reboot your modem? It might need
I rebooted the whole PC.
Oof.
I think there's a node function, because Sharadi's entire town's internet went down earlier.
Mate, boot.
Real quick. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
It is. just suck. With Hangouts, it's a glitch.
Well,
okay, I heard Hangouts. It's a glitch.
Well, part of that might be the fact that I pointed this out on my Discord and a couple others, but they've integrated, since Google Plus went away, they've integrated Google Plus into YouTube. So Hangouts is now being reworked as a YouTube program. So while they're switching over who actually owns what and who actually licenses and controls what, Hangouts has been glitchy. You're not the first person I've dealt with that has had issues with Hangouts. I was on a call with someone from South America who has good internet. I mean, they have real good internet, genuine fiber, and they were roboting like a motherfucker. So that could actually also be Alphabet Corporation itself, as opposed to your particular internet.
It is. It's called, it's load balance.
They know who the dangerous people are.
Well, that actually is a scary thing. But yes, they could. No, but what you were talking about earlier about the fact that you're having a conversation on Twitter for one moment and then it suddenly gets hostile and people, when you're looking at short form text communications, there is no nuance because you cannot, excluding using italics, underlining, and or emoji, input whether or not you're being sardonic or sarcastic. Those are two completely different things. Whether you're being insulting or you're being serious, you can't determine that. So if people can misinterpret what you're going to say, they will for their own personal gain. And that's the issue that you're seeing. I don't think it's a legal one because from a legal standing, none of this has crossed or breached the area where you're talking about slander or libel, depending on spoken or written, or if you're dealing with actual causal injury and harm. There are two specific cases that came close to this where it was similar to Tom Selleck's going after the National Enquirer for calling him gay back in the 80s, where people tried to sue BuzzFeed and another one I think was Vox. And they both failed because they're, quote, journalists, so they were reporting on the news of the day, even if the news of the day is rumor-mongering crap from Twitter. So, I mean, I don't think it's a legal argument that's the problem. I think the problem is quite literally the fact people are looking for a reason to be upset.
Well, I mean, that's true.
Well, it's feelings. Well, it's feelings, isn't it? This is the whole point.
No,
it's not
I don't
it's physical injury.
No, I think it's power and manipulation. It's not feelings.
Yeah, but no. But I'm saying that the claim to damage, the pain, suffering or whatever, it's because of feelings. It has nothing to do with, like you say, physical harm, physical damage, anything that can be actually substantiated.
Cabby, no,
I feel about it.
There actually is an instance, and it actually was here in Massachusetts, where there was that gal that ended up bullying her at then time boyfriend or former boyfriend to the point where he ended up taking his life. I remember when that case happened, I'm like, something's going on here, just because like I tend to err on freedom of speech, and at that point, the sheer fact that she was convicted of that, and like I didn't view all the stuff, but from the small snippets I saw, there were horrible things there. But then again, I mean, to rule, if we still do have freedom of speech, it's just what was, I don't know, maybe they went on the incitement of violence because she told him to kill himself. So, I mean, I suppose you could extrapolate there. But as soon as that case came down, I'm like, this is a horrific case. But at the same time, I'm like, I need to look into it more.
Well, it's a quagmire.
Well, in that specific case, the part of where I'm familiar enough with the case, part of what they got her under was direct incitement, direct calls, and direct personal negligence. Because one of the things that they got her on was he told her, apparently via social media, that he had taken a bunch of pills or was killing himself in whatever way, and she's like, well, go ahead, and didn't call anyone else. And that was the final nail in her coffin on that particular case.
He was in an impaired state, and she may have some form of a duty of care being in a relation. But so it wasn't incitement of violence. That's essentially
no. That was the first thing that they went after. What she was convicted under was the fact that she didn't fulfill her duty of care. It's like being charged with both manslaughter and second-degree murder, and you're convicted of manslaughter, not second-degree murder. It's part of why they add multiple charges.
It was like a Good Samaritan thing, because actually Seinfeld, their last episode technically was the Good Samaritan in Massachusetts. Sorry.
No. I have a question for you. Don't be sorry. Okay. What exactly is an incitement to violence?
I will kill you, or motherfucker, burn this place to the ground. Both of those are direct incitements to violence.
Somebody
no, they're not. Wait a minute.
Wait.
An incitement is that you are promoting somebody else to do it. It's not about what you're going to do.
No, if I say burn this place to the ground, and then someone does burn it to the ground, I incited that crime under Western common law. If I say I'm going to kill you and someone kills you under directly hearing that statement, that is also treated as incitement.
Let me respond real quick. Okay. Here's the difference, though. Saying, yeah, you know what? I fucking hate insert somebody here. Somebody should go do this, insert something there to them. Because I'm not going to get myself in trouble here. I'm not going that route. Okay. That if there's no way for me to actually facilitate that to happen, if I'm not giving an address, I'm not telling you how to do it, I don't say like it's a joke. That's not an incitement to violence. And if I say burn this place to the ground or I'm gonna kill you, that's not an incitement to violence. It's me saying that's me threatening you. Cabby's right. But also, if I'm not living next door to you, or I don't know where you're at, I have no way to get there, that's not a credible threat. Okay, there's a difference between a threat and a credible threat.
Back in 2016, there was a young man who was murdered for fighting with the cops. His mother, I believe it was his mother or his stepmother, was screaming to the crowd to burn this motherfucker down. They did. That is a direct example of incitement, and
but that's direct
incitement. She also said that she was going to kill cops. Cops were also killed. Okay. Now, I would say that would be an incitement. Is typically an example of a direct threat. Yes, and that is where the problem is. But it can also be incitement. Like, what is legalism is an arcane language. It can be both.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's like MC said, yeah, I'm going to drone you, Mad Dodge. That's not a credible threat. That's nothing to be taken seriously. It's a joke, and we're friends.
Yes, it's a joke, and you're friends. It could still be a direct threat if you do own a drone, because you can hook a drone up with a 22 and get it to fire. It can be done with civilian material. So it can be done. So that can also be viewed as a direct threat as well.
But where's the line? Because you can mean it as
argument. The line is you don't say anything inciting or anything that's threatening, so therefore you don't get in trouble. That is how the law works. This is why I don't like law for the most part. I don't ever say, how many times have you heard me say there should be a law for X? I don't like it because law is a very blunt, undelicate tool.
It should be very specified, and very often it's very painted in a very broad brush to encompass a lot of folks. And very often you catch things that you didn't even mean to catch. So I tend to agree with you there. You should really think.
No, it absolutely is.
Well, that's the way the laws operate, but that's the problems.
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry, Kevin.
I know, it's because cunts keep on typing in chat, and that is actually one of the things I've identified. If people type a chat message in, it's hitting the server for some reason.
Well, Cabby, what was the argument you were talking to me yesterday about?
Yeah,
about like the laws.
Incitement is distinct. It is yesterday.
It's acting up again. Yeah, no, but Cabby was telling me. Oh, you cut off there for a second there, Cabby.
I said, who's echoing? Yeah, because somebody's echoing. Well, they were.
Oh,
what were you asking me, Meme? Right. Okay.
Oh no, but remember how you said like we have so many laws that no person can reasonably keep track of all the laws, and if the nation makes the laws, but the nation is also charged with the education of the young people, there should be some form of civics or the potential. You were saying like maybe, what were you saying, a lawsuit, class action, something?
Well, I'm saying that there is there should be, if you are educated by the state, then the state should be legally obliged to teach you the civics and certainly law, that you can defend yourself, because you can't use ignorance of the law as a defense. So if you can't use ignorance of the law as a defense, then surely the state should be obliged to educate you about your rights and everything else, right?
No,
otherwise
they were
you are
required
ignorant
to do that, Gabby. No, they were.
But they're not anymore.
I had civics as one of my required courses in both junior high and high school. I was required to take.
But how old are you?
6 years. I've already said I'm 38 years old. I had 6 years of civics. You know, so I mean, it was required. It was required for graduation. It was required for
when you say
college
civics,
entry too. I mean, like if you didn't take civics, you weren't allowed into college. Like that was a required course.
Yeah.
So I mean, the fact that
it wasn't when I went to school, dude, and I'm only like 4 years younger than you, man. So like 4 years after you went to school, maybe it was a state by state thing, but I mean, we took history and stuff.
It's a time thing, because my sister, who's 3 years younger than me, was not required to take civics at all.
So we're identifying. Okay, yeah.
So I mean, she's only 3 years younger than me, and she has never taken a civics course, which is why we will argue to the end of time about law, because she argues law as feelings as opposed to law as fact, and I argue law as fact.
So that means this is the whole point, right? It's like there's a potential class action. If they're not teaching this stuff, then then surely ignorance of the law is a defense if the state has failed you in educating you to the ability to defend yourself with the law, or to know about what your legal rights and responsibilities are. Surely it's the state failing to prepare you for its own, sanctions.
Well, no, that's interesting. No, because the reason I think we got onto that was because at the time when I was taking my real estate course, there was a gal there that was teaching it. She happened to be an attorney, and she said that I think all high school students or folks at some point should take at least 1 year of basic law to just, like you said, understand your rights.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As far as what Cabby was saying about there being a lawsuit possible. There is something that could be done under, because the legal, the reasonable man standard in law is no longer being met, because it is, as you guys mentioned earlier, unreasonable to know every law. So the reasonable man standard, the way this works is, for example, like if Matt and I had a contract, right? No, screw that. I'll use the Tonka thing. So in the Tonka Andy Worski bullshit, right? Andy met the reasonable man standard where Tonka did not. So therefore, Tonka is liable for his actions. See what I mean? Now, in the particular case of legal understanding from the civilian population, you could see a reasonable man suit against the probably federal government for not requiring civics on a federal level and making it a county by county decision, which isn't even state by state, because there are some counties in Kansas that were never required to teach civics. And there were some counties like mine, Johnson County, for example, that was required to teach civics. So you can make the argument that it is beyond the pale for a reasonable man to understand the basic laws within the nation that they reside in, because they are not being taught. And that is a
I would argue that
for that suit. That would be.
I would argue. I would argue the opposite. I would argue that it is your duty to teach yourself. It is not the state's duty to teach you anything. Matter of fact, I don't like government indoctrination centers, really. And my kids go to charter school. So
mad. No. Here's where you're wrong, sir. The state and the federal government both have educational standards on you as a parent. End of story. Period. So even if you homeschool your kids, you are required to teach them to a certain level, period. If you don't, it is considered either child endangerment or child neglect, depending on the particular state you're in. So in that specific instance, no, since they demand that you teach basic arithmetic and basic writing, basic sentence structure, basic grammar, basic literary levels, like you can't be illiterate, as a child. That's actually illegal. No, being completely uneducated on the law is by arguing that you should completely defend for yourself is actually handicapping a population that's required to live under a federal mandate already. So I don't understand. Either you're arguing that you shouldn't be required to educate anyone for anything at any age, and that's entirely upon the parents, or you're arguing that it's okay to completely deny people a legal education because you don't like indoctrination centers. I'm confused as to both sound weird.
Okay, first off, you don't need the federal government to create schools and to teach people at all. They have these things called private schools. They have these things called charter schools, which are in the gray area, kind of 50 where my kid.
Well, let me ask you, is Miestra, is that from like the Department of Education? Sorry, Matt.
Both of you guys were talking. I missed it.
Yeah. Okay.
Really quick, off of what you were saying, Matt. You're talking about woulda, coulda, shoulda. I'm talking about what actually is the law and what
actually is the law. Is you have to know. You have to. Okay. What's the actual law? You have to pass a certain fucking test. I can do that right now. I can do that right now with my kids at Khan Academy if I wanted to. I don't. I have them go to actual school. That way they could have the social interaction and the sports and all that because they like to do sports. But the thing is, no, you can know I can go out and get an MIT Tech, MIT fucking, level education from MIT for free from their website. But I wouldn't have the degree to back it up, so no one would hire me, which is why I'm going for my history degree and paying to go to fucking college. But the fact remains, though, there are ways to be educated, and you can pass those tests. The government shouldn't have to institute the test, though, because this used to be done at a fucking local level. Shoulda, woulda, coulda, was done, and shouldn't have been changed.
Okay. You are arguing what should be. I am stating
I'm arguing what was and shouldn't have been changed.
There's a difference between those two things, man.
And what is the case is I told you exactly how to achieve to meet the federal government's requirements.
It's not a reasonable man standard under the current legal structure in America from your perspective.
I don't think it's reasonable for the government to dictate almost anything. How is it? I don't think it's reasonable for the government to dictate to any parent what they have to do. What if your kid wants to fucking be a logger the rest of his life? You teach him how to be a fucking logger. That's how it happened in the past. What about a publisher? What about everything else?
So using that as your standard, you are fine with the fact that prior to 2002, Christian scientists were allowed to completely withhold any and all medical care from their children because of religious belief, and therefore the government should have absolutely no interaction in their child's well-being because that is not their place. Correct?
It's not the hill I want to die on, but if you want me to fight that battle, I suppose, yeah, correct.
They are roughly equivalent. If you're going to...
It's the same thing saying... I can bring up... No, how about you bring up the Catholic schools? It's the same fucking thing. There's still schools where they spank kids. Same fucking thing. I mean, you're allowed to dictate how your child is fucking brought up. Either you have control over raising your child or you fucking don't. It's not the government. This isn't Sparta.
Yeah, well, no, this is where you end up with this sort of idea of loco parentis. That's why I'm saying that if you don't teach the child, if you take responsibility for the education of the children, then you are going to be responsible for the consequences of the actions of those people. So if you want to have a form of society where it's, what's the word, where you are wards of the state, then it's got to turn into, it's got to flash back in your face, right? Because you are ultimately going to be held accountable for the failure of your own, your own citizens.
Well, no, and it's both ways, though. The parents are on the hook for the failure of their child if they don't attend school. In the state of Oregon, you get hit with truancy laws. But that's the same state that, with the same set of laws, dictates that once your child's 13 and they run away, the cops don't have to bring them home to you. Okay, sounds like the government's having it both ways. How about we do put the power in the parents' hands?
That's what I'm saying.
If the child dies because the parent was a dumbass Christian Scientist, then they look into it. And if it's deemed something that could have easily been treatable, then you file criminal charges. But before then, you don't intervene.
Whoa. You are arguing that if it's...
I am arguing...
No. Let me speak, please. You are arguing that if they die of something and it is viewed as easily treatable, then... where does any of the First Amendment freedom of religion aspect come into play then? Because there are a good number of religions other than the Christians that have very, very weird and strange beliefs when it comes to medicine and medical treatment. So what are you saying that, let's say a Jehovah's Witness kid dies, and this is actually an established court case, dies from lack of blood transfusion. Is that therefore a crime? Because that's a freedom of religion argument. So
yeah, well, you want to cite court cases. What about the case where the Catholic priest was performing an exorcism and the girl died and he did get indicted? How about that? And he also got found guilty.
I'm not talking about actual law. We're talking about what you feel, because we stopped talking
about
a long time ago.
When you're bringing up law again, you just brought up a law. You just brought up a law case.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I brought up a law case because that directly refutes what you were just saying, MD.
And I just brought up a law case that directly refutes yours, and you're telling me it's not valid.
That supports what I was saying, because
no, it doesn't. Because
yes, it does. Yes, it does. Because
let the criminal justice system figure it out.
In both
how much involvement do you want the government to do? How much power do you want to give CSD? How much power?
How much do I want it to have? That is completely different from how much it already has, which is what started this whole argument. I stated what it actually has currently right now, and you went off on a tangent about what the government should be allowed to do, not what it is already allowed to do. Those are completely different things, sir.
Okay, and what do you want to argue about what it's allowed to do? They're allowed to do it. There's no argument there, is there?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Okay, they're allowed to fucking come into your home. They're allowed to take your kids on a whim. They're allowed to separate fucking families, split them up. They're allowed to nail the dad with child support, put him in jail if he doesn't pay it. And then they're also allowed at the same time to not give a fuck when the woman does the same goddamn thing. By the way, they're also allowed to make you pay alimony if you get a divorce. What? They're allowed to do everything. The government will do everything they fucking let you to do. What I'm arguing is take it away from them. But you're saying that's my feels, so fuck it. Move on. What do you got, Cabby?
Well, no, it sounds like a formula for a healthy society.
No, quite seriously, you can push back against federal encroachment. You can't
win if you can't talk about what should be, though. And I'll stop cutting you off right there. I'll stop.
Never mind, dude. You're on a tangent. You go, sir. You're obviously lit up about something, so the floor is yours. I'm not going to stop talking now.
God, it's crazy how much you sound like Mad Dodge.
What am I? It sounds like I'm arguing with myself.
Maybe it's just like, maybe it's like matter and antimatter have met. We have the CERN experiment right before us. Come on, dudes. Go on. Get together. Make yourselves a boson. I'm waiting for that Higgs boson. We can have a.
Well, no. It
we
irritates
can wet the baby's head.
It irritates me with how much power people want the fucking DHS to have. Because how many times they've came into my house and then always left. Nothing's ever happened. But the fact is, they come through my house and go through my shit, and I don't fucking like it, and it pisses me the fuck off. All because some goody fucking calls bullshit because they don't like me because I didn't mow my fucking yard yesterday or some fucking, you know what I mean? Like, people fucking do stupid shit and the government gets their nose all up into your fucking business. And until you actually talk about drawing it back down to where it used to be, then all it's ever going to be is how far should we let them grow? How much more do we take? How much do you want? Another 6 inches? Fuck that.
Well, it always starts with the tip, doesn't it?
Right?
Just a tip, and I promise. Just a tip, and I promise to pull out. Yeah, like, we've all played it. Come on.
That's it. I'm gonna bounce the Freedom Boat, dude. Like fucking McAfee, pick me up, dude. Florence, Oregon, I'll meet you there, buddy. I don't know how far I'll have to swim though. They might arrest him, huh?
God. You don't know. I mean, this is the whole point. I mean, talk about silly season. Christ almighty. As if there isn't enough real news to fucking report on. You got to worry about that fucking nut job.
That's just funny. I'm going to keep watching that. It's like As the World Turns right there. I swear to God. As the Freedom Boat churns.
So, yeah, I think...
Oh, that could be a segment. That could be a Redeye segment. Like, hey, now it's time for a little cut screen as the Freedom Boat churns. You
know, yeah, where is it now? Where's it today? And like have a little pirate boat.
Yeah, I'm getting ideas now. No, and I'm done with my tangent, Maestro. Unless I offended you that bad. Like, perhaps. Anyway, 40 ounce, you were muted for a while. What's going on, man?
Yeah, I've not spoken to you for ages, mate.
Yeah, you've been gone forever. What stories really pissed you off while you were not on the internet or working?
I haven't spoken to you since the whole Blaze bullshit. You know, like your family and the homes and everything, and you know, catastrophe, hellfire, damnation. You know, all that.
Yeah, all that good stuff. Yeah. I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. That does remind me, I am done recording that video, so maybe I should maybe you should record something for me so I can have a nice soothing British voice. Make the medicine go down.
Oh shit, yes, I forgot about that. Oh, you didn't chase me up. Yes, of course. That was weeks ago. Yeah, I should have done it by now. I'm sorry about that.
No, it's all right.
Went out of my mind.
I'm in no rush. I'm just hanging out. But gosh, I don't know.
Okay, now I will get onto it tomorrow, mate.
No, you're good. There is one thing that never ceases to amaze me, and it's where people get their scrupulous little morals from. Right? Some people look to celebrities, some people look to the government, and some people look to Gillette ads, apparently.
Oh god, that fucking shit. I didn't even really talk about it. I didn't even watch the commercial. I don't even know how cringy it was.
It really wasn't. To be specific on that, the thing that's truly amazing is the fact that Procter & Gamble has been closing short on its stock price ever since. And like they're taking it much harder than Pepsi-Cola did. I guess it's because their only audience is men who want to shave their face off, and they don't particularly want to be proselytized to themselves.
But this is the thing. Procter & Gamble, look, they are a massive company. They have so many different companies, subsidiaries and things. I mean, the razor business is a fucking piss in the ocean in terms of their turnover.
That's why I mentioned Procter & Gamble's stock, not the subsidiary company Gillette. Because Procter & Gamble is actually taking a hit, not Gillette or Charmin or anything else in that whole.
The hit on Procter & Gamble was infinitesimal the day after all of the shit storm kicked off.
I'm not talking a week or two after, because their stock's still closing short. I thought that was...
Well, yeah, but that's just going to be speculators riding on the back of this bullshit media storm that's meant to be happening. I mean, that's got nothing to do with the reality of the market. Right. Well, no, I'm saying that it's not going to last for very long. Short sellers don't last very long. They go in, they get out. You know, they can't.
Typically, yes, you're right. I'm not arguing that. I said that was the fascinating part, was the fact that it's short selling, not that a short sell is going to last forever. I mean, it might though. I mean, Pepsi managed to recover the next quarter from their ridiculous Kylie Jenner ad, but you know,
Procter & Gamble, like I said, the idea of a razor blade is going to take down Procter & Gamble with all of the other industries that they do is absolute nonsense.
I honestly
consumer
have no
backlash can
idea.
take it down, irrespective of whether or not the Razer company is the only part that did it. Like that's a major thing. I mean, you can't have the largest reseller of razors target their audience and then not have a problem with their audience. Like that's the biggest issue.
Yeah, but I mean, but how many people? But how many people check who Procter and Gamble is, like which products they buy are Procter and Gamble? Okay, because you probably buy a bunch of products, daily that you don't even know have been manufactured either by or through Procter and Gamble at some point. They've probably touched on Procter and Gamble.
I do agree that the average person doesn't necessarily go looking for subsidiaries and umbrella corporations, but there are people who do, and there are people that will spread the word and let others know.
Yeah, but it's usually, like I said, it's very short-lived.
Even moreover than that, if there's enough of a consumer backlash against a parent company, then it will affect all of its subsidiary companies because the consumer market, the entire market will find out every subsidiary company they're in. It depends on how much of a backlash you're talking about.
Well, if that's the case, then
entirely the issue. It's too soon to measure that.
Okay, well then why isn't the movie industry getting the message? I mean, how many times have they got to fucking put out their shit like Ghostbusters 3 and
what their
all the
and
other stuff?
Quarters were like?
Yeah, exactly. But this is what I'm saying. They don't seem to bother reacting to it. But these are actual social justice.
Yeah, no, Cabby, they don't know how to react to it. You don't think Paramount's flipping the fuck out? They're about ready to go bankrupt, dude.
Not just Paramount, man. Like there's a good couple. I mean, Disney took such a major hit on the 2 Star Wars movies that they made that's part of the reason why they fired that bitch, because it ruined this franchise. They can't even sell tickets to their Star Wars rides because of how much it's hated from. Oh Jesus, man.
Well, no, and it's Paramount that owns the rights to do Transformers, right? Because didn't Bumblebee do shit compared to
the Bumblebee was fucking terrible. The only way that Bumblebee did any good was in the Chinese market. Aside from the Chinese market, it was universal law across every other.
Was it? Because what I heard was they were saying it was a success still, even after it was shit compared to like the first.
That was Ghostbusters 2016. Does anybody believe that was an actual success, or do you believe the press release?
It was a clusterfuck. Well, we know the finishing numbers pretty much, don't we? So, they've lost, what was it, 140 billion in total?
Yeah, I mean, million. Yeah, the thing is, though, they're getting the message kind of, Cabby. They see their money going away, and they're even losing Chinese investors with the case of Paramount. But they don't know how to get out of what they've ingrained themselves into. It's an echo chamber. So they have the same ideas going in the same room for 30 years. How are you going to get fresh ideas, especially when you shun anybody with a good idea that might have a different political view than you? I mean, God forbid you let Tim Allen have his show until Rosie's show worked and they fucking fired her.
But this is what I'm saying. You can see it in the gaming industry, all of these different industries. It still keeps going. I'm saying... it may seem like a bit of a tinfoil hat theory, but all the money, the trillions that got pumped into the economy, to keep it alive with the, the bailouts and everything. That money is effectively there to harass everybody. They've got enough money to keep pumping this shit at us until those taps run dry. Those however many trillions were pumped into the economy.
There's still bright spots in gaming, though. I mean, look at Rockstar. There's you could go.
You actually want to step into my realm. Okay, let's talk about Rockstar. Rockstar had one successful Red Dead Redemption, but they've already incorporated loot boxes and microtransactions into their game, which has caused a first quarter backlash against the game itself. If you'd like to talk about other game studios, we can talk about EA or
Blizzard or Activision.
Can I talk?
I have Red Dead 2. I happen to like the game. The only complaint I have really is it's so gigantic that I didn't get the kilobyte fucking hard drive, so I have to delete another game to do the update to get back to the online mode. And I don't want to delete the
gaming market, Matt. Is that what you're claiming in that statement? Because you like the game.
Why would I be claiming that? How is that?
Yeah, but I mean, look,
I never
Matt,
said anything was irrelevant. I was just never mind. Damn,
Matt,
argumentative
look, I mean,
today. I don't know how I was claiming I was the entire gaming market at all.
No. The thing is, like, Red Dead is kind of like a really stripped down version of GTA with a Western skin applied to it. Okay, and it doesn't even have the, like so many options of things that you can do. I mean, can you build a house? Can you? I mean, what? You can't even save things in your,
I no longer have an opinion because I'm not the entire gaming industry. I just
please.
I wasn't saying that at all, man. I don't understand how that was a rebuttal to my argument about the gaming industry.
It's not a rebuttal. Whatever. I don't look at the numbers. I'm not into the gaming thing.
Well,
I look at.
We were talking about the numbers because Cabby brought it up, and I was more than willing to go into it. And then
I was saying the angle I was going is they are not going the SJW route. The loot boxes and stuff. I get that. That was a different argument than I was even talking about. I was connecting it to the Hollywood, but I never got to finish.
Well, no, the connection there is the fact that the gaming market is under two major strains right now. Okay, the first major strain is the loot box boiling the frog crap, where you have, gamers are pissed off of paying $60 to $200 for a AAA game and then have to pay a season pass and microtransactions on top of it. Like that's one problem. The other problem is the fact that you have a good number of games. Let's talk about EA, for example, in Battlefield 5. If you don't like it, don't buy it, right? Where they're retconning in things of history, like some chick with a fake arm does everything that a Swedish commando unit does because parallel history and she's powerful. And no, those are two separate but compounding issues. The gaming market as a whole, just like the entire entertainment industry, has had two terrible quarters. The last half of last year was wretched for TV, movie, entertainment as a whole. The people who have been successful in the last the last 2 quarters have been independent content creators on YouTube, Twitch, and other streaming services, basically. Like those are the guys who are doing well because most of the TV market is spending their money on super berries and Patreon shit because, hey, we don't have commercials and they get to hear the message they want to hear. So the way that the loot boxes paid in is that Rockstar is the only one that got it right by not going religiously SJW on their audience, but they're still failing and losing out because they brought in loot crates and microtransactions after they promised they wouldn't. That's how it directly fits in.
Okay, I didn't know they directly said they wouldn't because I don't have GTA 5 anymore. I used to have it though.
Oh, after the controversy with Grand Theft World, they had to because they were pre-sales for Red Dead 2 were down. So they released a press release saying that they would never have microtransactions, nor would it ever have loot crates. And then they brought it in after it was the only successful game on the entire winter season.
And I've noticed
they thought they could leverage that success, and then guess what? Their fucking sales went down terribly. Like they're actually in the negative for this quarter because of it, even more so than you would expect for a post-Christmas recovery quarter.
Yeah, and I've noticed that is a tactic that's starting to be implemented a lot more often. Like Call of Duty Black Ops. Which one was it? Is it 4? Is that the one that's out now?
Yeah, it's 4.
Yeah, they did the exact same thing. There were no loot boxes up until the point where reviews hit websites, and then it's like, oh, it's great. There's no microtransactions. They're only cosmetic. This, that, and the other thing. And next thing you know, they're pumping out fucking all different kinds of loot boxes. There was one recently where there's a simple red dot sight for one of your guns. Just a simple red dot was like $20 or some crazy shit like that.
No, that's the same thing as what Bethesda did where in its Atom shop they were charging $28 for an in-game shirt, which is more expensive than the expensive silk version of that shirt in real life. According to Amazon, a silk version of that shirt was only $18, but apparently it's worth $28 in digital realm.
Already.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, the funny thing is that I play almost exclusively free-to-play games at this point because you get better quality free-to-play games, because free-to-play games are working off the original metric of microtransactions, which is if you have 5% of your gaming audience spend money on microtransactions, they will spend more money than you will in one quarter than you will have spent in development of the entire game. They will spend more money in one quarter than you will get in a year of AAA prices. So I'm playing Warframe right now. Warframe, for example, has been free to play the entire time. It makes all of its money off of the Platinum in-game Goofy store, and their tagline is "Ninjas play free." And there's a billion ways that you can trade items for Platinum, and I have not invested more than maybe $10 into this game because I'll just dig shit up. Path of Exile is another prime example of a free-to-play Diablo that only runs off of a microtransaction cosmetic store. And they make more money than Blizzard has made on Diablo 2 just from their microtransaction shop. The difference being is what the problem with gamers is, and this is quite literally what they're saying. It's not misogyny. It's not any of that crap. The problem is that if you're looking at a $60 title and then a $59 year season pass and then a monthly subscription on top of the whatever you need in microtransactions. I mean, again, look at the Break It Early edition from Bethesda's Fallout 76, where you got in-game active time. Same thing with EA's Battlefield 5. You got early access to the game that counted on your account, even though it was in beta form. That's not a beta. That's not even an alpha. That right there is early access to a game that you can use because it's actually a pay-to-win scheme. Because you have access longer than anyone else, and it counts on your main account. But there were people that on the very first day that Fallout 76 opened up, and the very first day that Battlefield 5 opened up, that had max level accounts because they got early access, because they were season pass holders and they participated in the quote open beta.
Okay, well, my question is, all right, Bethesda screwed the pooch with Fallout 76. Everybody
is facing lawsuits. The Gaming Commission as well is getting in on it. It's ugly.
Yeah, I haven't played it. I heard a rumor it was going to go free to play. Voice of One,
it is spelled that. It is free to play. At this point.
Voice of One said it wasn't going to. That was just a rumor. But Bethesda themselves came out today and said it.
Yeah, no, but that's what I'm talking off of. Bethesda's press release says that it's going free to play, and there will be no monetary returns to anybody that paid for the game. So if you paid $200 for that amazing helmet and early access, congrats. You get no Atom Store bonuses. You get nothing. This game's now free to play. You can just download it.
Wow.
They're being investigated by the Gaming Commission for a reason.
But they can't do that to Elder Scrolls. That's not Elder Scrolls. Not? Because they have ESO. They already have it. They already have it.
It's owned by ZeniMax, which is their parent company. It's not owned by Bethesda. It's not a Bethesda property. It's not a Bethesda IP.
Bethesda licensed the Elder Scrolls copyright.
The license is being paid for by ZeniMax, not by Bethesda. ZeniMax is paying Bethesda for rights to the IP. So that way they can create their own thing. So technically,
that's what I meant, yeah.
No.
Licenses run out.
A better way to look at this would be to look at Alphabet Corporation. So you can use Google Hangouts because Google YouTube paid money to Google Plus to allow Google Hangouts to be usable on YouTube, even though they're both under the same umbrella corporation as Alphabet Corp.
I understand that, but it's the same thing like CBS and Paramount and Star Trek, where now the copyright from Paramount that they licensed is going back to CBS. It'll be one entire thing again under CBS.
Well, yeah,
the IP is owned by Bethesda. They purchased it from, don't remember who did it back in the day. You probably do.
It was Bethesda. They purchased Fallout. They didn't purchase Elder Scrolls. The original Elder Scrolls game was the Elder Scrolls Arena, which was released in 1992. It says old.
And that was Bethesda? I thought that was a different company. That's
no. That was done under Bethesda. ZeniMax was created as a financial wing of Bethesda that turned around and bought Bethesda later on because it was handling all the marketing and money. And there's a huge kerfuffle if you want to get into actual copyright ownership between the ownership there and how that was done. It's similar to how Microsoft got a hold of DOS, basically. To make it short. But no, it's an original IP of Bethesda itself. They bought Fallout, for example. Like that's the one they bought, but not Bethesda.
And they fucked it up now as well, haven't they?
Oh yeah, Fallout 4 was terrible. I don't understand why anybody enjoyed that and why they made another Fallout after Fallout 4. It was shit.
I liked 3, but no. The thing is though, it's always been a single player game. Always. They have their online version now. So Bethesda, I know you're not listening to me, but please listen to me. No, just keep it the way you've always done it. Make it in a different spot with a bigger map and more freaking lore. Give us all the books everywhere and the great fucking quests, and that's all we want. Don't fuck it up.
But that takes effort. This is the problem. It takes effort to come up with real ideas, real storylines and things, right? You need
that one, I can kind of say the Elder Scrolls fan base, because I watch a lot of Elder Scrolls videos, and a lot of the other Elder Scrolls YouTubers agree. Like, that's what we want, like, as fans. That's it. Just don't fuck it up. Like, that's what we want. We want our game, just a new one. I mean,
no. The scary thing about that is the Elder Scrolls Elsewhere, which is Elder Scrolls 6, is being done on the Creation Engine, which is what they originally used to power Daggerfall in 1996.
Mm-hmm.
So the bugs in Daggerfall from 1996 are still prevalent in Skyrim and in Fallout 4. The most notable one of which that most people can test on their own is just stare at the ground while you're running and watch the game freak out as its frames per second jump up to 2,000, and suddenly you're faster and stronger and shoot quicker than anything else because there's a graphics render bug that's been in existence for 30 years. So, as far as that goes, you're going to get the exact same repackaged garbage. In Fallout 76, you get Skyrim dragons as plague monsters. And they have the same bugs that Skyrim dragons do. Like, they will artifact and go weird, or they'll bury themselves beneath the ground and still kill you. And other fun shit like that.
Is that just a PC version? Because I'm a console peasant.
It's because it's a problem with the Creation Engine itself. It's a problem with the game engine that they built the game in. It's not. It doesn't matter what they port it to. It's not.
I've never had a dragon dig under the ground like a mole. I've never had that happen.
I've seen PS4 video and Xbox video where they've done it. You've just gotten lucky, realistically.
Okay, all right. I'll take that answer. I've seen some bugs. Like, I've started floating and shit. You're in the middle of, like, I hate it when I start a new game and I'm one of those idiots that get the idea I'm not going to fast travel. So I'm walking all the way to this spot. I go all the way across the map and I get there, but I don't rest yet. And the whole thing glitches out and it fucking shuts off. And I'm like, you
love Fallout 76. It costs real money to fast travel in that game.
Yeah, I wouldn't be paying that fucking bullshit.
Nope. We're walking the entire time.
Yeah, we hoofing it.
I know. It's just the thing with Activision Blizzard, EA Games, and Bethesda, that where this ties into the culture war as a greater in entertainment, is what you're looking at specifically is you're looking at they have followed theocratic ideology to the extent where they are now, like, specifically Bethesda, EA, and Activision are all blaming independent content creators for making reviews. Same way if Ocean's 8 was blaming toxic masculinity for reviewing their movie. And it doing
same as Ghostbusters 3.
Ghostbusters 4 is under the same rubric because it's now teenagers doing it, and it's the 2022 version of Ghostbusters that's coming out, and they've already released presses that toxic masculinity is why the movie's doing terrible even in pre. And it's not even to post yet, and they're bitching about it.
No. Wait a minute. Aykroyd is involved in the new Ghostbusters movie.
Aykroyd was involved in the last Ghostbusters too.
He was?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah. He also he's an ancient alien believer.
I don't want him anywhere near this movie. He wasn't there. I don't believe you.
It doesn't matter if he was in it. He was involved with it.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the thing. Like, for example, look at the Last Jedi interviews with Mark Hamill. He was in the movie.
Yeah, God, he looked like a hostage. That was so fucking weird.
Hostile interviews off every entertainment interview. That's not my Luke Skywalker. I have no idea what they're doing here. Quote unquote. That is not a positive interview, sir.
Yeah, and the only time he ever said anything remotely neutral is when he was literally sitting right next to fucking JJ or any of the other developers or directors or anything like that.
Yeah, he didn't speak or said, yes, it would be nice.
Well, no, his eyes spoke a million words.
Well, but no, that is not involvement, even though he started it. Aykroyd was involved in Ghostbusters 2016, even though he didn't star in it. I mean, so that's why they're already releasing shit about how the next Ghostbusters is already besieged by men's rights activists and MGTOW men and all this. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? The movie's not even into post-production yet. You're still shooting the damn thing. How is it being assaulted?
Nobody even knew it was happening. Nobody ever knew anything about it. I mean, it was a complete bolt out of the blue. So,
yeah, but I mean, the way it works, though, is
nobody does know anything. It's just bullshit. Just, people speculating.
Like, no. If you look into the major movie houses, right, getting on to what Matt was saying about how Paramount is suffering, they're all suffering. The last 6 months have been terrible for the entire entertainment.
But this is what I'm saying, and this is what I was saying before. Like I said, tinfoil hat time.
Okay.
But all of this money, right, the banks and everything, all of this stuff that's being pumped into universities, like that's being funded, all of this is obviously coming out of where? Banks, right? All comes out of banks. All of these companies, well, it's coming out of hedge funds, management. It's all invested in. It's going to be in some electronic format.
Most of it's done under the philanthropy cause that
exists. My point is that they're not doing it with chickens, right? They're not exchanging chickens and right. So there's no sheaves of corn being exchanged. So, right, you've got all of these people who are forcing this and all of this money that was made available. The only reason that these investors, I mean, a lot of them are upset, obviously the private investors, but the banking investors, they're the ones who seem to be willing to keep pumping this money in, no matter what the loss is. I mean, they'll happily take some other people along with them. I mean, some other independent investor gets, suck it in. But this seems to be, because there's no way that you can finance this kind of behavior, with companies going under. And so consistently, whether it's in the gaming industry, whether it's in the, the music industry, whether it's in the, the movie industry. I mean, it's happening everywhere and anywhere that you look. I mean, you got, companies now, like even Wall Street is saying, don't even hire a woman anymore. It's not worth the risk.
Okay, that's a lovely pivot, actually, because you brought up Wall Street. I really want to move there. You ask, tinfoil hat time, where does the movie come? Non-tinfoil hat time, where does the movie come? There are two major credit card companies that exist in the world. One is MasterCard, the other is Visa. One of them is political, the other is not.
One of these things is not like the other.
Why do these things matter? Because MasterCard is specifically targeting businesses and ventures that they do not find morally acceptable, and therefore the biggest dollar is not of any value. Where this comes in is that MasterCard's primary tax write-off is to the entertainment industry. That is that is direct public tax information that you can see.
Well, this is what. So, like I said, you look at all of his money which got injected into the market, which didn't go to people, like all of this, the massive bailout and everything. It went into the banks. Everything that's happening now, all of the stuff, which seems like it doesn't make any sense. Why are people still paying for it when nobody wants it and they're pushing it down people's throats and we don't want any of this and it's just being funded and funded and funded? Well, where do you think it's coming from? It's got to be coming from somewhere.
Well, to bring up a local example for you, Dr. Who just closed its worst season in the history of British television. And the response from the international BBC news on this issue is the fact that it is due to international YouTube pressure and toxic masculinity as to why the show did terribly.
Well, of course. I mean, always blame the fans, right?
So therefore, they're going to do another season of it.
Yes, they have.
Even though it's the worst in British broadcast history.
Yeah. Look, they'll fuck anything. They really don't care. That's what I'm saying. And why is this happening? Now, who would be willing to fund this many lost leaders? I mean, why? There has to be backing for this. It's not like they're stupid. Like you said, they see that this money is being lost. Now, certain hedge funds who are not necessarily in the loop, they're going to be seeing that they're losing some private investors, but the banks still keep on throwing their money in. You know, those major, you know, fronts which are chucking the cash in, and they're still willing to do this. No sane person would continue to throw their money into these projects.
If it's tax expendable, why would you care? You get a tax write-off for doing it. Why would you give a shit? You're not paying tax money with this. You're giving a philanthropy donation. So therefore, across the entire Western world, that is how taxes are done.
Where's the fucking where's the philanthropy in it? I mean, no, we're talking about business investments into things like Blizzard.
Now you're having a emotional response and not a tax legal response.
No, I'm asking a simple question. Why the fuck has this got anything to do with that? Because these are investments, right? How do they manage to throw their, get this as a tax write-off? I mean, they could if they're if they're booking down less earnings, then they would get more tax write-off. But it's not like they're claiming it to be a charity donation. You're not donating to charity when you're investing in Blizzard, or when you're investing in Paramount, or when you're investing in MGM, or whatever. Those aren't fucking charity donations.
Scholarships for movie interns. You're funding scholarship for game studios.
You're
funding scholarships for game journalist interns. You're funding their coffee. You're funding their donuts. You're funding their health.
Okay, that's another aspect of it. I'm talking about the actual business investment.
I'm talking about where their actual donations are going and what they're actually paying for, and why that actually counts as a tax deduction.
Yeah, well, that's one aspect. Like I said, it's the actual, the games companies, the people who are manufacturing. They're the ones who are losing money. I mean, fuck the fact that somebody gets themselves a croissant in the morning.
Backer has no reason to change their investment if they get the same tax deduction by giving it to person A for cause A that they want, or person B at cause B that's financially solvent. If what they are getting is a tax write-off, which they are, then it does not matter how much money they funnel into this project.
Okay, I've got to check out Bethesda's tax returns and just see how they managed to qualify themselves as a legal charity.
They don't. I never said Bethesda did.
All right. Okay. Well,
I'm not saying that I'm saying specifically that MasterCard is counting it as a charitable donation because they're funding internships. That's specifically what I said.
Yeah, but that's one aspect. It's one tiny element of it. We're talking about the actual
the movie industry right now is getting a majority of their movie money, their funding, from foreign investors.
The Chinese market is huge in that regard. That's the whole reason why you have The China Salesman as a movie that even exists. You're absolutely right, indeed.
Yeah, so what he's saying is the people here domestically are funding the movie organizations through more clever ways to get a write-off. You know, they could pay the fucking accountant and the lawyers to do everything for them to save them the most money. And also fund money in the direction, politically that they want it funded.
Yes, but I'm sorry, but at the end of the day, a loss is a loss. If you're not getting back money in order to pay dividends or to repay, based on share performance or something, then it's still a fucking loss.
Write-off, so they're not having to pay as much tax money. But
you're thinking MasterCard is this weird self-entity. It isn't. I mean, MasterCard is part. I mean, the money which MasterCard has is the relative monies of the people that they are representing.
You're right. They are representing about 5 billion people.
Yes.
And therefore, they have money to piss away on whatever they want that will give them the best.
I am well aware of that. And it doesn't matter whether it's a tax break or not. I'm talking about the purpose of why it is that they're willing to let these companies fuck up and fail consistently, because it's the message that they want to keep on pushing. And they don't give a shit, because they've got all the money in the world, because we gave it to them back in the days of the bailouts. They got trillions of dollars that never came into the economy, never really went down to Main Street.
We gave it to them back in 1974 when the international...
Well, fine, all right, yeah, all right. If you want to go back to the...
market allowed the establishment of international credit cards that worked across country line, irrespective of tariff.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about the actual bailout that were recent. Okay, you want to go back to the 70s, fine, and we can also go back to coming up the gold standard next if you want.
In the 1970s, they allowed for one company.
To hey, how about tally sticks? Remember them? They were some.
Okay. All right, guys, calm down, dude. Calm down. Hey, fighters to your corners. And I was already one of the fighters before I had to go to my corner. All right, now here's the thing. My wife did take off to the coast. If you boys have more time, we can keep going, but we've hit the 2-hour mark. So it's up to you boys if we keep going or not. So yay or nay?
I am going to have to nay.
Oh, all right. Fucking 40. We'll rarely see you, mate.
Sorry.
All right.
I'll be here tomorrow.
Well, then we're gonna wrap it up. We'll be back tomorrow. I'm looking for a debate topic. So if anybody has any ideas, I believe there's a way to hit me up on the channel. You could comment on this video or join the Discord and tell me there.
Actually, there's a way that they can contact you as a channel directly because, as I mentioned, Google Plus is now integrated into YouTube, so you can add direct YouTube friends and have direct peer-to-peer chats now within YouTube itself, including and not limited to direct private messages, excluding chat. So you can send emails in YouTube now.
How much did they pay you for that advert?
I don't know, but that's good to know.
None. I'm explaining the technology as it exists because the real question is YouTube going to adopt the Google Plus terms of service, or is it going to keep its original ones? Most people lost their YouTube accounts because there was simultaneously required to upload to Google Plus as well, and you were in violation of the Google Plus account terms of service. That's the reason why I'm harping on it. It's not an advert at all. I'm actually afraid that Google Plus is going to get, YouTube's going to get a ton more authoritarian because they're going to adopt the Google Plus terms of service.
That might be a good conversation for tomorrow. I don't know if you're going to be around, Maestra, but
I'm around every day.
All right. Well, that might be a good conversation. But good night, everybody.
Peace
good luck. Don't go to France without your yellow vest, and fuck the EU. Right, Cabby?
Hallelujah, brother.
Fuck the EU. We're out of here. Peace.